What the heck? I can't see myself. Can you see me? Can you hear me? Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. And I can't see. Something has changed here. Let me just see on my other tab if I can see myself. Hang on, dudes. What is going on? What is going on here? Oh, no. It's just something with the new setup. I can't even see the way I... Thank you, YouTube. Strong hand, long-term thinking. Bitcoin is the next Bitcoin. Oh, one day closer to an all-time high. I am tumbled. Come on, YouTube. They made this experience worse every single year. What a joke. What a joke. I can't even see myself now. It gets worse. All right. 16 Bitcoin probably make you a millionaire. What makes you a billionaire now? I don't even know. All right, long-term thinking, people. It's after the halving. I wasn't going to do a show tonight. I haven't done a show in a while. I'm in Salt Lake City. I'm loving it. But this dude, Chris Pan, Natalie, I don't know how to pronounce her name, interviewed him, and it's linked to below. His site is linked to below. I'm offended by selling, by the way. And Chris Pan gave a speech at Ohio State. Follow me on Twitter at TECHBALT, by the way, people. I actually retweeted his speech, and I commented on it because he gave the commencement speech at Ohio State. You might have seen it by now. I believe it was last week. And he mentioned Bitcoin as, a good thing for society. He's the kind of guy that just wants to help people. He's not saying to buy Bitcoin. I never heard of Chris Pan before. And I thought, well, maybe I should have heard of Chris Pan before, because he's giving a speech at Ohio State about Bitcoin. Anyway, the clip that was going around, which was embarrassing for Ohio State, which is his alma mater, unfortunately for him, I guess. He must be a bit embarrassed now. And he's a nice guy. You can tell he's very sincere. And I'm going to get into that. Thank you, YouTube, for totally throwing me off with all this. I can't see myself again. It's unbelievable. But it's very disorienting what they've done here. So he gives his speech. He just mentions Bitcoin a little bit. And when he mentions Bitcoin, they start booing him. Oh, it was embarrassing. It was just like he's trying to give him... Now, with the interview with Natalie, she's like, why do you think they booed you? And he's giving all these naive, little innocent... he's a smart guy. He's trying to think through it. He's trying to be nice. There was really no good reason. Whatever. There was no good reason. There wasn't really a compelling reason. Let me tell you the reason, Chris. We live in a society today where class warfare is encouraged. Hate the rich is encouraged. Hate the 1%. Be envious. All your problem. And it is perfectly acceptable to blame. If a rich Asian guy from Silicon Valley comes along, you're allowed to boo him. Because he's smart, he's rich, he's pampered, he's lucky. Even though Chris is the son of immigrants, he grew up in Cincinnati, went to public school in Cincinnati, it looks like. He went to Ohio State, then he went to Harvard Business School, which dude is a smart guy. Okay, he's a smart guy. He got into Harvard Business School. He worked for Facebook. He's retired now because of working for Facebook from the beginning. They gave him stock option. He got paid with stock. And the dude didn't even get into Bitcoin until 2020. He didn't buy his first, and then he sold. He admits he's honest. An honest guy saying on this video, you got to watch the video with Natalie. You got that's linked to below. And I don't think this dude has read Atlas Shrugged. I mean, he's smart enough that he probably did. Maybe he's forgotten Atlas Shrugged, where he is sacrificing so much for these people that hate him. They hate you, Chris. They hate you. Then you're gonna say, "Oh, there's some all right people out there, and I'm gonna be, And he brushes off the booze and everything like that. Ohio State, that stadium is tremendous stadium. Okay, it had plenty of people in it, and plenty of them were booing. And there's so many. Ohio State graduates some of the most, in terms of numbers, some of the most people every year from an undergraduate program. Okay, so there are a lot of people booing him. It was not good. And this just, it speaks about our society today so much, where to be envious and to scapegoat. Now imagine if I would go. So he's not even the greatest. He admits he's not the greatest spokesman for Bitcoin. He hasn't been around. He only since 2020. And by the way, it's amazing. Another thing I learned from this, and this is no offense to Chris. He was already rich. What he could have, he says he regrets not buying Bitcoin in like 2012 or something like that. He was already very wealthy then. He had already attained amazing success by then. And you would think that a man who had an MBA in Harvard, from Harvard, best business school in the country at the time, that he would have at some point, because we had 2016 there was hype, 2017. Some point he would have bought in before 2020 and not sold. I think he said he sold in 2022. He says he doesn't have much now, and I believe him. Even a great genius business mind. By the way, he's smart. He's definitely smarter than I am. Okay? Definitely smarter than I am. And this should give everybody hope that you don't have to be the smartest man on earth to become big. Because I'm retired just like he. I mean, I don't know. He might have more money than me. I don't know. But I'm not sure. That's the amazing thing here, because I actually bought Bitcoin in 2013 and have never, ever sold Bitcoin. So my net worth may be very comparable to his net worth. And again, I don't know if he got paid an insane amount of Facebook stock options and never sold them. Then I don't know. There's certain things that are clearly going to beat me by a lot. But this is not a contest. But why I'm even bringing up that aspect of it is his just pure honesty about the entire situation. He's not bragging about being smart, and it just shows you that some of the best financial minds out there, some of the best entrepreneurial minds out there, which he is definitely part of, they couldn't handle Bitcoin. They couldn't handle it back then. They couldn't understand it back then. They were doing other things, even though he was retired and trying to help these people that hate him. the altruism that it's like he's got to reread Atlas Shrugged. That would be my advice, and then he will get the answer. Part of the answer to why the people hate him at Ohio State, why they were booing him like vicious animals. Now again, imagine if I was the one, because a guy who actually got rich because of Bitcoin and is Jewish who spoke in Ohio. And I'm not as nice as he is. He's talking about how he had this nice drug experience or with the ayahuasca. No, not for Adam. Adam's straight out of Baltimore, okay? And you know how I straight talk. I probably would start yelling at the people and stuff. Who knows? There would have been a riot. And of course, you can scream and curse it. They would have blamed me for everything in the world. They would have boycotted. They didn't boycott because he was Asian. But if a Jewish guy would have spoke there that was talking about Bitcoin, it wouldn't even gotten to that point probably. Like they would have said, "Oh, Zionist pig is speaking. We can't." And by the way, long live Zionism. There was a guy on Twitter. I think these people out there when you're an influencer or whatever, when I've been around social media for a while, people they think things about you and then they draw these conclusions and then they say things. And there was this Israel hater on there, which are very high in the Bitcoin community, by the way, because they love authoritarian. Many people in the Bitcoin community are supposed to be decentralized. They love authoritarian thugs like the guy in El Salvador. So they don't like good free countries. They like authoritarians that inflict some religious Sharia law upon their people or whatever it might be, not irreligious, religious, secular Sharia, whatever you want to call it. And they like that kind of thing. Anyway, there was a guy out there. He's like, yeah, I've noticed. Adam Meister, his tagline used to be "Proud Zionist" on his Twitter. It was never my tagline, Proud Zionist Jew. That is the name of my backup channel. That is still the name of my backup channel. I uploaded a video there to my backup channel today. It's linked to below, by the way. I am a proud Zionist Jew. I believe Israel is not doing enough. It is embarrassing how they've taken their time with this situation. When there's just pure evil, you must destroy the pure evil. You must go after it. And you're trying to do what a senile man in the United States tells them to do. It's embarrassing. It's humiliating. It's horrible. But Netanyahu is doing a horrible job. And the people are like, he's a far-right leader, this Netanyahu. Do you even know what far-right is? Do you really? No, they don't. It's all these talking points that are out there. Again, Yaron Brook has been great on Israel. Please watch his videos. And Sam Harris is not good on certain things, but on Israel, oh my God, the moral clarity on that situation that Sam Harris throws out there is beautiful stuff. So that's some of the stuff I've been watching. Some spare time stuff. But anyway, so I think we talked a lot about Chris Pan there. Clearly a nice, but somewhat naive guy. But I really advise that you watch the video and I think a lot of you should gain satisfaction that you got into Bitcoin before this guy did. You have more Bitcoin than he does. But at the same time, you've got to understand that class warfare is horrible. That, everyone, there's a certain thing in the college admissions things that now it's like kind of trendy to say, well, we shouldn't have racial quotas, but let's have class quotas. No. If you're going to judge somebody by their race, by their class, don't do that. Don't judge them as an individual. See if they really qualify. Come on, people. So there's all sorts of people that are just, oh yeah, sure. It's totally fair to hate the 1%ers. Totally. Yeah. So, okay, let's go to my high school reunion that I went to in Baltimore. So I was back in Baltimore for 2 weeks for Passover. And by the way, we need $73 for a new show. But I'm just giving you this free new show. But sometimes I do that. So I was, and by the way, Yaron Brook, he raises $600 per show, and he still is embarrassingly neutral about Bitcoin. I mean, I love Yaron on certain things. Other things, he's got TDS, he's got other issues. But with Bitcoin, he says the most normie. He's not of the generation of the, he's not a boomer, but he sounds like a boomer when he's talking about Bitcoin. It's neutral, but it's just embarrassing. It's just so embarrassing. He's supposed to, be a financial expert. He had a hedge fund at one point. But I respect him on a lot of other things. But okay, let's go back. So I was at Baltimore for my high school reunion and Passover. So it was great to be with my family, really great. The Seders were a good time, and they've grown so much. The kids have grown so much. And but now it was going to be different because I had not seen my friends from high school. Now let's describe my high school. So again, Jewish people try to send their kids to the best education. One of the reasons that Jewish people are successful is because they value education. Some cultures are better than other cultures. Okay. Now, in the Middle East, the totalitarian cultures where they worship a death cult are inferior, or horrible, or terrible, or destructive, and they teach their people not to be productive, to hate, to kill. But in Israel, they have a traditionally Jewish culture in which learning is very important. Learning. So in the secular culture, the United States, the secular Jewish culture, you're going to learn. They're going to send you to the best school. My parents sent me to private school because Baltimore's public school are horrible. The cities are a joke. So, but I was in the county, but the counties became a joke too. A total joke. Very unsafe. I would have been beaten there horribly in the county, in the Baltimore County. In Baltimore City, God forbid, I would have been. God forbid. My dad went to Forest Park back in the day. Forest Park doesn't even exist anymore. It became so ghetto. They had to close it down or something. It was horrible. My mom went to Milford Mill in the county, and they had to close that down. It became so ghetto. But there's a public school. So my private school, it was not all Jewish. It was a few, 15% Jewish people. I don't know. That's not the whole point. But my parents sent me to a good private school, and so everybody from my class, there were 72 people in my class. They all went to college. I think all the people that graduated from my private school for the last who knows how many years, 90%, over 95% graduate from college. I mean, it should be all of them, for God's sakes. So we're talking about, I went to an elite private school. And I'm proud of it. I'm proud of it. Now, it's also woke now. It's all sorts of nonsense now. So, of course, and I'm sad to say this, we have a reunion every 5 years. And I don't live in Baltimore anymore, but I come back to Baltimore. And I think a lot of you know I was very, very close with my high school friends for so long, so long. We're very, and I guess as part of getting older, you kind of you lose a certain naivete about the whole situation. I mean, these guys are more like my brother. I mean, not to the level of my brothers, but I mean, of a blood brother, but as close as you can get. I love these people, and I still do. When I got to see them again after 5 or 6 years, every single one of them, I had not seen in 5 or 6 years. So either I had not seen them since my 5-year reunion, or I had not seen them since my father's funeral. And, I respect them with everything that the ones that showed up at my father's funeral, of course. They knew my father. But to not see them in the last 5 years, what happened in 2020? Let's remember. And to put it nicely, I think I was on a different side of things than they were, like all of them. And I try not to think about that. I think these last 5 years, over the last 5 years, I've really intellectually taken it, philosophically taken it to another level. Thanks to Bitcoin, thanks to a lot of things. Just, I think Yaron Brooks is one that says that you really can't change much after a certain age. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. I've become much more of a reader, just much more of a thinker. I told you all before that when I was in high school and when I was at Washington University in St. Louis, I was just trying to just get by. I wasn't learning anything. I was regurgitating everything, basically. I wasn't integrating. Now I integrate everything. And I'll see one subject matter. I'll be able to connect it to another thing and just try to intertwine it into these videos. And at times I get very frustrated with these videos that many people who watch my videos just want to see how I look and they don't even care about what I'm saying. They don't see me integrating these different, they're not thinking. There's so many people in the Bitcoin community that don't think. And I'm not saying my friends don't think at all. I'm just saying, I'm saying, I was able to make it through a very good college and high school by not thinking very much. And being just there's certain, I guess, smarts can take you so far, and I was able to pull something out there, wasn't I? But going back, so I hadn't seen these dudes, but when I did see my friends, despite the differences, despite our different, and by the way, I see my college friends in the last 5 years. My Bitcoin friends, I saw right away. Those are the friends I saw right away. I started seeing them in 2020 and 2021. And then college, and then a friend of mine from Baltimore who didn't go to high school or middle school with me. But the last ones that I saw were just this, just on Kentucky Derby Day. I had not seen this whole 2020 stuff. I guess all that, the last bit of drama that put on my life, not seeing my friends, ended finally. And again, despite the differences that have clearly the differences, when I did see these dudes again, and we really did hug each other. We really did hug. It was really nice. It was really, I really can't explain it. It brought me back to a time before, being a grown up, just being a kid again, and just not caring about this crap. You really should treasure your days when you're in high school and college. There is a certain innocence that you'll never get back. And I guess that's why a lot of people like to have kids, because they get to see that innocence in their kids. I guess that's a positive of having kids. But God, for those moments. But the reason I say all this, I preface all this, these are smart people. These are smart people. And they've all done very well for themselves. I'm wearing a Bitcoin shirt. A lot of them, and I tweeted this out on Twitter that no one asked me about Bitcoin, not one person. And some of these guys, I'm close with, I've talked to on the phone with some of them. Definitely every year since then, a few of them. And they know about my Bitcoin thing. And some don't exactly, the women and stuff, they don't. But no one asked me about it. No one said, how you doing with that? What's going on? Whatever. And at the same time, when I was in Baltimore, I saw someone who was buying a house, willing to pay $1.5 million for a house in Baltimore County. Just to, for safety purposes. Like, in Baltimore County now, if you want to be in a good school district, if you want to be away from this, that, and the other, you're going to have to pay a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Okay? And they're bidding wars for $1.5 million houses. So what am I getting at here? What is the point of all this? Are you rambling here, Adam? These are the 10 percenters, whatever you want to call them. The 3 percenters, the 2 percenters who want to be 1 percenters. They keep spending, buying, just, parroting the government lines, doing everything to fit in, just to fit in, getting the $1.5 million house, not thinking about Bitcoin, seeing this Bitcoin thing, not even thinking twice. Like, when I said I was in Salt Lake City, the looks I would get. One of my friends said, how many wives do you have now? This is the anti-Mormonism that is accepted by normies, by the way. And this is a good man. A good man said this to me. How many wives do you have now? What would he say? If this something like that was said about a Jewish person, he's not a Jewish person, but he would be like, he would be disgusted if they said that about a black person or a Jewish person, the equivalent of how many wives you have. And this is another tangent I want to get in. The Mormon people are openly hated more than the Jewish people are. It's just like, it's horrible. I love the Mormon people. I love them. I love them. I love with the culture they put in this area in Salt Lake City and Utah. And just people are so envious and jealous. They don't even want to come out here and see what's going on, how beautiful it is, how productive it is, how safe it is out here. I'm in freaking Baltimore City, and they cannot comprehend. I mean, they're used to this. They're used to the nonsense. I'll just pay $1.5 million for a house, whatever. I mean, they're paying it. So for you people out there who are like, Bitcoin is going to be the world reserve currency. It's going to beat the dollar. The United States can't just keep printing money. And I've said this before, but I saw it with my own eyes. Yes, the United States can keep on printing as much as they want. And yes, the dollar will remain king because of these smart people out there. Okay, they are smart people. They're successful people. They want to fit in more than anything. They don't understand that they don't want to go beyond their comfort zone. They don't want to know what Salt Lake City is. They don't want to know what Bitcoin is, even though their good friend, a man that some of them would say they loved, is talking about Salt Lake City and Bitcoin. They don't want to hear. They don't care. They don't want to hear. They're going to keep on doing what they're going to do. Okay. And be lawyers and be all this stuff and pay the taxes and they are fueling this. So I don't hate them. I don't blame them. To me, some of it is so boring what they're doing. Okay. But let them do that. Don't try to change them. If you're a true confident decentralist, okay, like I am, let them enjoy what they're doing. They're fueling this stuff. Okay. They're keeping society afloat. They are making California possible. They're making this semi-socialism stuff possible. You don't have to participate in it. Don't be a leech. Don't contribute to it. Don't buy a $1.5 million house in Baltimore County, of all places. Dude, you can feel the vibe right away. When I got back here in Salt Lake City, by the way, it snowed here on Monday morning a little bit in Salt Lake City. What a freak show that is. But I got back here. I got off the bus. And yes, I'm a millionaire and I still take the bus because that's why I'm a millionaire. I don't have to sell my Bitcoin. And by the way, I was able to pull off another extension. I got an online advance. I had to pay a certain percent or whatever, but it's worth it. Okay. So I'm going to be able to not sell Bitcoin until probably the end of the summer now. Maybe I'm good with finances. Okay. I've extended it longer. But when I got off that bus, here on 2100 or whatever it is here in a sugar house, and the sun just started coming out. It had been dark because it had snowed much earlier. I didn't realize it even snowed early. I saw it on my car parked in the car parking lot. Nissan Versa, cheapest car I could get at the time, by the way. It's ridiculous. Yeah. And I screamed in joy. I screamed in joy when I saw the sun coming up, that I was back in Salt Lake City, that I was no longer in Baltimore. And again, when I'm in Baltimore, I'm with my family most of the time. I'm at familiar, safe places. Okay, I can't take it. I can't take this. There's a certain stress that's there. There's just a certain, just people sacrifice everything in this very dangerous place, and they're just willing to just give so much of their finances, and just it's horrible. It's kind of like, well, then, I mean, I'm tying it into Chris Pan there a little bit like that they're sacrificing too. A lot of money just to fit in and just be what they're supposed to be. Be successful 3%ers or 2%ers. Try to be a 1% or try to look like you're part of the 1%. Again, these are good people. I'm not going to rip on these people or whatever like that. And again, remember, this is I'm not going to tell you what year reunion it is, but there's the 5, 10, the 50, 20, the 30, 35. 50. There's all sorts of other people there too. None of them asked me about my shirt. None of them, and they're all fueling it too, and they're all successful too. So these private schools are just turning it out over normie, successful 2%ers, 3%ers, 10%ers. I'm talking about net worth, and some of them, again, they produce a lot, so they're part of the 20%. They're going to be successful, but they are guilt-ridden. They are duty-bound to stay in Baltimore, or stay on the East Coast, or just do and say whatever. Some of them are in New York City and everything. They're in Manhattan, then they have kids, then they move north, and I don't know all the stuff they even do. And some are in Philadelphia, then they leave the city. Some are in the city and sacrifice themselves to the city of Philadelphia. All these different things, but it's basically the same thing. These guys, and they've never been out here before. And I know a lot of people who are watching this in Utah now are like, Adam, stop giving away our secret. Stop giving away our secret. Trust me, people are stubborn, dudes. You're like a Bitcoiner now. You think that even though they know the truth, that they're going to do they're going to do what's best for them. No, they're going to sacrifice. They're going to stick in Baltimore, and we can enjoy Utah, okay? The people who are not trees. Sadly, my friends are trees. A lot of my friends are freaking trees in psychological ways, in physical ways, and whatever. And it just, I will say one thing about Baltimore. Our post party was at it was a nice bar, One thing that freaked me out is one of the bartender girls there, I recognized from like 10 years ago, but she had gained 10 years. I was like, oh my God, you're still doing this like 10 years later? And like, I was like, oh my God, some people. It's like, if you're a hot girl, you're supposed to move on from the bartender job. And I know hot girl bartenders that did move on, that did have families, that don't bartend anymore. This girl used to be hot, not as much anymore. I couldn't believe it was her. I couldn't believe it. It was her. One of the cool things that's going on right now, the Orioles are like the best team in baseball, and people, we do treat our sports way too seriously in Baltimore, and it's gotten to a point where there's the highest expectations like ever. And so like people are treating, and I am guilty of this too. Every time they lose, it kind of hurts me a little bit. You shouldn't. So when the Orioles won that night at this bar, not so much my friends, but everybody else at watching, everyone started screaming like we won the World Series or something. I mean, there's tension in the air with the Orioles, dude. I mean, people are taking this very seriously. I've never seen it like this. So that was fun. That was kind of cool and everything. So that's it. I've been on for 27 minutes now. I just want to see if I probably skipped a lot here. I really did this last minute here. And I did want to give everybody an update. Oh yeah, with Chris Pan, he's such a nice guy that I think first of all, when the Ohio State people were booing, it shows Elizabeth Warren is winning, by the way. Her philosophy of blaming everything on the rich, even though she's a rich, scapegoating Bitcoiners. Hey, they were trained like Pavlov's freaking dogs when you hear Bitcoin to just start booing. She is winning, man. She is with the young people. That is very disturbing. Very disturbing. So yeah, she could become president easily. They'd all vote for her in Ohio State. That's embarrassing. But Chris Pan, because he reminds me a little bit. Well, he's much more successful and much smarter than what's his name? The Russian guy, Lex Friedman. Who really on the and by the well, I'm not going to. I didn't even invest with Chris Pan. I see he wants to solve the Middle East problem too. The Lex Friedman is like he does too, but he's like, oh, no one can be wrong. They're no villain. But I mean, it's just craziness. But like, it wouldn't surprise me if Chris Pan appears on a Lex Friedman show. I mean, Lex Friedman would love this guy. Love him. And I think it might be actually sort of an interesting interview. I don't know. I like Chris more than I like Lex. I'll tell you that. I respect Chris a lot more than I do Lex Friedman. Now, I'm not saying Lex Friedman is a bad guy, I think he's very naive on certain things. Like he puts that animal on his show. Norman Finkelstein, such an animal. He allows on his show. Norman Finkelstein. The worst of the worst. You see why? The people who have to judge groups of people by like one person from a group. You see Norman Finkelstein. You see why people hate Jewish people so much when you see Norman Finkelstein. An animal, basically an animal. I can only describe Norman Finkelstein as a wild animal of some sort. I don't know. He's even said. He believes in freedom of speech, but then he said he would slap someone at his college for saying something bad once. The guy's a total Marxist. Lex Friedman's take on Marxism is so naive, is so foolish. He lets these Marxists come on the show and totally manipulate him. Marxism is just, it's to start a freaking revolution. This is something I wanted to talk about, and maybe I'll talk about this in another show. We throw around the word revolution so much. Don't do that. We should call it the R word. We shouldn't even say it. when the Marxists talk about revolution, when the woke people talk about revolution, what they mean is you go to sleep one night, you wake up the next day, you don't have your private property anymore. There are no laws. There are no rules. There are no customs of yesterday. Everything has been overturned. It might be all right to kill your father now because he was a landlord or something. That is what a revolution is. It is not a good, it is a horrible. It was not the American, it shouldn't even be called the American Revolution. It was secession from the British Empire. That's what it was, okay? We were still doing things in a very British civilized way, okay? We carried on those traditions, all right? So I don't, this is not the best term to use for that. It is a serious matter. So these guys who throw around the word revolution, think about that, what that really means. When we hear about the revolutions in China and the revolutions in Russia, and you hear these speeches that Hitler gave about revolution, this, that, and the other, they were very serious what they meant by the word revolution. They really meant a complete change from one day to the other, where everything is totally different. Where, there's scapegoating galore. There are no customs or rules any longer. It is just everything is out. You don't know what is head is, what is tails, or anything like that. Okay, so just want to put that out there. And let me see if there's anything else. Are there any questions? Anyone want to do a super chat or anything like that? Late night. Well, it's not that late night here, and I really must take a cold shower. I take a cold shower every single day. Yeah. So, and I respect Chris. He's not trying to be a spokesperson for Bitcoin. Not trying to say I'm here to save Bitcoin or anything like that. And it's great that he says, he's only been around since 2020. And by the way, just it puts in perspective that if you haven't been around too long, you can make a big difference. You can do things. You can start promoting Bitcoin. You don't have to be a big veteran or anything like that. It also just, again, puts in perspective for myself that I've been around a darn long time, that I made my first Bitcoin video in 2013. And this dude made his millions off of Facebook. And I beat him by a ton getting in. So did you guys. Most of you guys that are watching this right now. Let me just see. I don't know if I'm going to, maybe I'll make, another thing I learned when I was back home, there's some people, I know a lot, I know some things about universities and colleges for various reasons. Oh, well, because Jewish people love to always talk about trying to get their kids into the best colleges. And so, unfortunately, it's taken this recent situation for some of them to say, like, maybe I shouldn't participate in this woke nonsense anymore because now they're coming after me. Now, that's embarrassing. That's really embarrassing. They didn't realize it beforehand. I realized how crazy it had gone. And so now they're not going to vote for Biden because of all this stuff. It's not an excuse. It's not, they're Jewish like me. I'm not making excuses for them. They should have known beforehand. These are very smart, educated people. They should have seen that. Now, they see what's going on these campuses is absolutely ridiculous. It's craziness. And they just see how, hated they are. Now they're the 1%ers. Of course they are. They shouldn't, but this is stuff that could have been realized such a long time ago. But okay. So some of them are playing the game. Plenty of them are playing the game. Still with their kids to go to Harvard or wherever, Johns Hopkins, all this, all these places where they're going to be hated, and it's so silly. But what has been going on silently, the media doesn't want to talk about, which I find amazingly fascinating. We hear that Florida is a great place to move to, and it is great. I love being in Miami, and there is a lot more freedom down there, and a lot of people talk. The people living there, they don't complain. There's the media tries to say, DeSantis is so horrible and this, that, and the other. But during all this noise that's been going on, Florida State, Miami, University of Florida, quality of student has gone up so much, and it is so much harder to get into. Those places, they were pretty easy to get into back in the day. They were not known for their academic rigor. I mean, University of Miami, Ray Lewis, come on, dude. But now it's not a joke, man. People are all sorts of smart people are trying to get their kids into these colleges. And a lot of them, let me spoil a little secret down there, because Jewish people want to fit in so much. These secular Jewish people who are just like me, who look just like me, who act just like me from the East, not act just like me, but you know what I'm talking about. They don't go to synagogue, or I go to synagogue, but whatever. Just secular Jewish people who you know who they are. They care so much about education, getting their kids in. Typical East Coasters. A lot of them are silently moving to Florida, sending their kids to Florida State, sending their kids to University of Florida, sending their kids to Miami, sending their kids to University of Tampa or something like that. I mean, I can't even believe this. And meanwhile, they participate online. They're ripping on DeSantis. They're ripping on this. They're saying Trump is horrible. This, that, and they're all playing the game. They're funding all the nonsense. They're the ones buying the $1.5 billion houses, the ones that are sticking around Baltimore, Philadelphia, New York, and Boston, and D.C. Plenty of them sticking around. And just, again, be a confident decentralist. Don't try to blame all your problems on the Jews. Actually say to yourself, these Jews are wasting all their money on these houses, on all these crazy things, paying for these crazy colleges, paying for all this stuff, buying, trying to fit in, just hating on Trump, even though Biden wants to. It's a joke. The difference between what Biden says and what Trump said, their take, it's just like secular Jewish people vote against their best interest. It's because they don't care about themselves. They don't care about this. They want to fit in. They want to fit in. And again, the people that I talk about that I went to high school with, hardly any of them are Jewish that I was talking about beforehand, by the way, that try to fit in. So it's Jewish, it's secular or whatever. They're all playing the same game. They don't know about Bitcoin. They're high IQ. They're smart. It's just like, it's a mix. And I just can't, I want all you guys to think about these stories I'm telling you and just integrate it into your Bitcoin thesis. And like your thesis that the United States is going to fall from its dominant position, and that for some reason the BRICS are going to take over. Have you been to one of those countries before? I've been to plenty of them. Brazil, okay, South Africa. I've been there. Where they can't keep the power on in South Africa. Yeah, where they're trying to distract people by blaming everything on Israel. The power goes off in South Africa every day. And they're trying to send Israelis to jail. I mean, it's unbelievable. The scapegoat, but hey, in America, there is a class of people, whatever, the 10%ers, 2%ers, 3%, they're fueling it all with their dollar. They worship the dollar. They'll hate themselves forever and ever. Let them do that. You do you. You understand that Bitcoin can be plenty successful without everybody treating it as their Lord and Savior, okay? It serves a great purpose of opting out of their little world. You're in the Bitcoin overlay, or their big world. They're opting out of that stuff, preserving your wealth, not playing this fitting in game. You're great. You're cool. Let them be cool. Let them do their thing. They're propping up all this stuff, all right? They're propping up. And by the way, I have a lot. I'll do another video on George Soros soon. I just want to say, James Lindsay, you got to watch that video. New Discourses. James Lindsay did the best George Soros video I have ever watched. I think it was 3 videos, 3 hours. He really explains who Soros is. And let me tell you something. If you're a true Bitcoin, I'll leave you with this. This is going to be, I've been planning this video. I just don't have time for these videos. I like to jog. Again, my Garmin watch. I love this thing. I mean, I just track everything with it now. But, I love to learn from these videos. They're not just Bitcoin videos, but you just philosophical things from Yaron Brook to Brian Kaplan to James Lindsay to whoever. I'm even watching Tucker's nonsense. He's going further and further down in insanity hole. My God, he had that Russian guy on, not Putin, the other one, the religious guy who hates Jews, who blames everything on Jews. That guy, he does, whatever that guy's name. I forgot what his name. Dugan does blame everything on Jews. I mean, it's easy. It's not like I'm exaggerating anything here. You can look it up yourself. They didn't talk about the Jews, by the way. But a total authoritarian, sacrifice for the religion, sacrifice for the state, sacrifice for tradition. This Dugan guy is horrible. And the direction that some people are going in to, like, scared of technology, scared of progress, like sticking to, Putin is the defender of religion. I mean, Putin knows how to pretend to be that. Yeah. So if you're some defender of some group thing, you know better than individuals. Dugin straight up says individualism is horrible. Oh my God, that is so against the Bitcoin. We're supposed to be confident decentralists. Anyway, going back to James Lindsay, who is ripped on Tucker also for, hanging around with the Dugin types. My Lord. Dugin is the worst. He blames individualism. He doesn't like Westernism. It's just insanity. But James Lindsay explains George Soros. And if you're a true Bitcoin confident decentralist, if you really, you should love what George Soros is doing in a sense. Okay? George Soros admits he thrives in chaos. He thrives in it. He is confident enough in himself. He thinks he can create chaos, and then, and I'll go into this in another show. The show is over now. I'm just leaving you with this little, something to get you excited. But he thinks he can create chaos. He's funding the nonsense out there. A lot of the he's Jewish, yeah, whatever. He's born Jewish. He doesn't care about it at all. He's funding and it's not anti-Semitic to say that he's funding so much of this nonsense because he admits it. He has it. It's his open society. And by the way, he's not a communist. It's very important. He is not a communist. He does not like China. He does not like Russia. He doesn't like that. He wants every little minority out there, every little freakish thing out there to have their say, to be an open society, to even though they're hateful little minorities or whatever, let them all say their thing. And in the end of the day, he'll create chaos. He'll promote some of them more than others to promote some chaos. And he will be able to manipulate everyone to do whatever he wants because he's confident in himself. And guess what? He is manipulating everybody. He is successful in what he's doing. But he openly admits this stuff. This is not conspiracy stuff. James Lindsay quotes him from his books. Again, people are like, he's a communist, he's a Marxist. No, he's not. He does believe in money. He believes in one world money. A one world system where George Soros gets to influence everyone to do what he wants, just as he influenced financial markets back in the day. And I believe he is correct in that you can influence financial markets with fear and FUD and other things that he throws out there and stuff, okay? So, but no, Bitcoin people, if he's going to create chaos, if he's going to create a situation where people are going to be able to choose something new, then we should be confident in like, oh, wait a second. George Soros will shake everybody up. We'll say our thing. He'll say his thing. They'll choose our thing. And I think a lot of people, under certain circumstances, if we call out what George Soros is doing and don't try to make him out to be this like, satanic, just like something that he's totally not. I mean, he's not a good guy or anything like that. But he wasn't sent by Satan. He wasn't that. All these crazy things you've ever heard. It's all part of he's trying to. It's a Zionist conspiracy. He's not a Zionist. He's not anything like that. He is what I say. He's a chaos agent. He thinks he can control chaos. He's very confident in himself. Watch the James Lindsay video. I'll talk about this on another video. All right, you're just getting the sneak peek. That's it. Pound that like button, everybody. I'm Adam Meister, Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. I got to take a shower. Twitter, TechBalt. Pound the like button, spread the word. And hopefully this turned out cool. And you got a lot of, I'm a unique piece. You're not going to hear any of that stuff anywhere else probably. And Chris, maybe he'll be on my show one of these days. He's a nice guy. And Ohio State doesn't deserve to have. I'm not gonna. There are plenty of good guys at Ohio State. The Brewers don't deserve to be associated with a good guy like that dude. See you guys later. Bye bye.